All right, it's time for the Star Goddess podcast on the Crash and AJ blog at 98rock.com. And in case you did not know, we have Star Goddess on live on the air each Monday morning, and then we follow it up with this very expanded version of what Star Goddess does. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
And so it is birthday week for AJ. We know that much. We got that
Yay.
highly established here today.
Yeah, which we did have some fun. Thanks for all your responses, and feel free to continue to sound off at Crash and AJ on Facebook and Instagram. If you could have any band, maybe even it's just the singer or guitarist, whatever the case may be, anybody, dead or alive, perform at your birthday party, who would it be?
I went with Sublime. I went with Sublime initially, but Bradley Noel with a Bradley Noel hologram.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Nice.
That'd be a good one. Metallica and Seven Dust was always, some of my favorites. That's always who I'd love to have like at a private party if possible. But I
was just thinking that'd be a little big for that. I want to have it in my backyard, so I think it would be a little bit small of a stage or big of a stage in my backyard. So I figured Sublime could just get out on the grass where they're nice and comfortable and bring out some acoustic instruments and stuff like that. No big production, but you want the big production then. You want
it doesn't have to be a big production. They can do it. Hey, it's Metallica and Seven Dust. I'm not going to turn anything down from them. It could be, what is the words? Pip farting on a snare drum, and I'd be cool with that. Hey, Airhead. Bust out the Airheads while we're at it. That'd be a good band there, too.
And I heard you had somebody was you have in common with my mom.
I dated myself. I said Bob Seger.
And
I was actually at a house party. Yeah, and I was actually at a house party in St. Pete that had 3 Dog Night as their party. So
whoa,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Mike Riley's party. Yeah. So I'm all for bands at house parties. You betcha.
All right,
I'll come.
Well, now
any one of those bands, any one of those parties, I'd be at.
For real.
All right. So what's the theme? Let's catch everybody up that didn't catch the show today. Star Goddess.
Mars, the planet of ego-oriented projection, otherwise known kind of as your dick, and I couldn't say that on there, but I could say that here, has gone from the air sign of, and it is, everybody's got one, men and women alike, we all have our ego, and that's what Mars represents. So it has left the air sign of Gemini, where it has been for the last 6 weeks, and is now going into the water sign of Cancer, which, and whenever Mars changes signs, it's sort of like that's where the fight's on in your chart. And, and it's in different places in different people's charts, and it's important to know where that fight is going to be on so you can be prepared for it and actually make the best of it. And this is the first time Mars has been in Cancer for 22 months, so everybody can look back in their own charts and see what occurred 22 months, not quite 2 years, so it's probably, where are we, April, May, so probably the June, July time span of 2019 before everything turned to dirt, is when you want to look at that time and see similar things happening now that were happening then, but you have a couple of years worth of experience on what to do right with that energy. So I'm a big fan of those who don't remember the past are doomed to repeat it. And I'm a big fan of saying, gosh, if something didn't work the last time, for God's sake, don't do it again.
Right.
So my job
some of us can be very, very stubborn and try again.
I'm going to take the exact same path, and it's going to be different this time.
That's right. It's going to have a different outcome because my will. No, that's a very Taurus statement, too, because they are the most stubborn, tenacious, never know when to quit sign in the zodiac. And I have a rule for my Taurus friends. When you have 3 of your friends say the same thing in the same tone of voice, and it usually starts like, have you lost your mind? It's, the first one you go, what do you know? The second one you'll go, yeah, you're just jealous. The third one you'll go, man, that's what the last 2 said. So I may need to pay attention to this and modify that a bit. So, but that being said, it's still not likely because Tauruses are the most stubborn sign in the zodiac. So for them, Mars has gone from their second house of money, where they've been spending a bunch of money, and has gone into their third house of day-to-day living. So they are going to reorganize their daily schedules. You're going to find that it's easier for them to do the things. They've picked up a whole bunch of new stuff over the last year or so, and now they've gotten all of that integrated into their life, and it's time to make it fit into their schedule, and it'll just be easier for you to do your day-to-day living, which is a very cool thing for Tauruses. It also indicates some short distance, short duration travel, which is kind of fun too. And there may be some sort of learning something, not like getting a PhD or a doctorate or anything like that, but learning something that will help you, a new skill set that will help you do your job better. So all in all, it's pretty good. It's a very easy energy for Taurus. So I'm happy to be able to say that working for a Taurus.
What does our resident Taurus want for her astrological birthday there? And what's astrologically, what do you want, AJ? What do you...
That is a really good question, but I know Taurus is usually into, what is it, some of the more luxurious items, so
luxurious stuff. Whatever it is, it can't be cheap. That's right. That's right.
But you know what? It depends for me. It doesn't necessarily have to be luxurious, but I do like things that, enhance the senses, like food,
right. Massages, food, pedicures, manicures, anything that has to do with pampering you. And even if it's like a bathrobe, make it a nice, fluffy, big, absorbent kind of bathrobe, kind of a deal. Something that makes them feel luxurious, makes them feel special, because they are.
It's good. Take luxurious, AJ. It's your
birthday. Go for
Thank
luxurious.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, and that's very likely for them, which is very, very good energy for them. For Geminis, they are fixing to spend a boatload of money. Mars is in their second house of money, and every time they turn around, it's going to be $50 here, $100 there. They could literally get nickeled and dimed to death, because over the long haul, over 6 weeks, nickels and dimes add up to a substantial amount of dollars. So to Geminis everywhere, I say, how you, and because it's in the sign of Cancer, which kind of rules feelings, for Geminis, it's how you feel will determine how much you spend. So, and that can change from minute to minute. That can change from day to day. That can change from the morning to the afternoon, because that's how mutable Geminis are. But for them, they're fixing to spend a boatload of money. And so for Geminis, make sure you get what you pay for. That's kind of the big deal with them, is to make sure you get what you pay for. Because I don't really know that there's that income coming in at the same time all these expenses are going out. So, that's just, it's not the greatest of news, but there's worse places for Mars to be.
At least they know it's coming.
Yeah, exactly. You go, okay, well, maybe I won't borrow a Ferrari this week. Maybe I'll wait and see what my expenses are before I could do that. Yeah. For Cancers, Mars is in their sign, and I mean the fight is on. They are going to be, okay, knock this off my shoulder kind of deal. They are not going to back down from any kind of a fight. They are very, very empowered, which is kind of good for the United States, because we're Cancers. And Russia's rattling sabers, and we're going, dude, we're not backing down. Turkey, we're not going to put up with your crap anymore. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's good for the United States to get a backbone back, and Mars in our sign definitely does that. And so for Cancers everywhere, if you're not the United States, pick and choose your battles carefully. You don't want to fight something just for the sake of fighting. Make sure there's something more than just the Cancer's ego at stake. But it is absolutely time for them to pull the trigger. They've been mulling it over for the last 6 weeks or so, and they finally go, I know what I need to do, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I have to tell you, I think you get a good outcome with the Cancer. So it's about, Cancers are very rarely aggressive. Normally, if anything, they're passive-aggressive. But it's a good time for Cancers to be assertive and to assert what their wants and their needs are, both professionally and personally. So I think it's an interesting time for Cancers, and it's good to see them fired up again and caring about something, which is a big deal.
So when you're having dialogue with a Cancer, should you ask them a lot of questions? You're not going to normally get answers out of. You got to kind of pry stuff out of them. Is that what you're saying?
You have to play 20 questions as to what it is, because Cancers, Cancers are a mute sign, so they're represented by a creature that has no vocal cords, and they think that if you really loved me, needed me, wanted me, cared about me, was my friend, you would know what I want, you would know what I need, I wouldn't have to tell you. And I got to tell you, that doesn't work for me. I have a hard enough time when people tell me what it is that they want for me to go, oh, okay, but when I have to guess, because I won't do it. I'm the kind of thing that goes, everything all right? And they'll go, yeah, and I'll go, okay, great, I'll go on to the next thing. I'm not going to drag out what it is. So for Cancers everywhere, you'd be a lot happier. If people say, what's wrong, you tell them. Maybe in a small voice, but tell them directly, because Cancers, unlike the crab, they approach you indirectly rather than straight on. So I think it makes it hard for them to get their wants and needs met when they assume people know what they are. And maybe they don't. Because very rarely will people go, no, I don't want to meet your want and need. It's like, usually they go, I had no idea. I didn't know I hurt your feelings. I'm really sorry. So
now I know what you're saying about the indirectly, because crabs walk sideways. So that's indirect. Right. Okay, I get it. Right. Okay.
They kind of, see, they kind of sidle up too. Wow. That's that indirect kind of thing.
It's pretty
which makes it hard to understand what they want. So I'm a big fan of be blatant about it. For Leos, good time for Leos just to take a step back.
Okay.
They've achieved a bunch over the last 6 weeks, a bunch of goals and objectives.
Yeah.
And they've achieved all of them. And now it's time to sort of like okay, now I'm going to incorporate this into my life instead of continuing to strive for new things. All the new things I've already gotten in my life, I want to try and work them into my life so that they're easy for me to do and that and that they're gratifying for me to do. So rather than starting new things, Leos, it's a time to solidify the things you've already put into motion. So, and then be careful with dealing with women. Because for Leos, women that are, yes,
no 35 girlfriends for you.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite Florida evers. I'm sorry he wasn't from Florida.
My mom left, so she was with me for the better part of a month, and my girlfriend's back now. So I'm trying to tread. I should tread lightly around women. Is that what you're saying? I'm not sure there.
Don't blame women for your woes.
Oh boy. Okay.
Is the bigger thing. That's
gotcha.
The bigger thing.
So you own those Scrabble words there, mister.
Oh, this could have something to do with the Scrabble battle going on during weekends at my place. Yeah.
Okay. Okie dokie. So that's all. It's a good time to try and incorporate into your life all the things that have changed over the last 6-8 weeks or so.
Okay.
There's been a lot. You got a lot going on, sir.
Healing has been the main one. Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it.
Yeah. So it's a good time just to expand on what you already have in motion rather than looking for new things.
Gotcha.
So, and, it's good to take a little bit of a break. Kind of go, woo, okay, that's been a lot. And to incorporate it into your consciousness, into your psyche. For Virgos, good time to reach for the brass ring. Mars is in the 11th house of hopes, wishes, goals, and objectives. And Virgos are going to manipulate their female friends, their well-placed female friends and colleagues, to help get the Virgo what the Virgo wants. The Virgo can't get it alone. The Virgo needs the group to do it. And the Virgo, being manipulative, is going to approach the group and say, here's what I can do for you. When the truth is, it's really, here's what the group can do for me, and I'm going to make it look like I'm doing this for you. And Ron DeSantis, our governor, just did that. He just signed $1 billion worth of sales tax to generate more revenue. And he's right to do it, but it's going to come out of our Floridian pockets. Kind of a deal. So
the sales tax thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. On internet buys and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's literally, as a Virgo, he's going, this is going to be good for the state because we need revenue. It's like, yeah, okay, Rob, but it's going to make you look pretty good too. So, well done, Virgo. And that's just how Virgos are. That's why God gives us green eyes. You know when you're dealing with somebody very manipulative. It's not it's like rattlesnakes. They put a rattle on it for a reason to warn you. Does the same thing with green eyes, because whenever you see that, there's something in Virgo, and I promise you they're manipulating you one way or the other.
Yeah, try looking across a Scrabble board at a Virgo, and she's trying to use a word in a sentence, and you're going, no, that's not the right way. And she's like, that is the right way. I'm going, okay, that's the right way.
That's right.
You just got to agree. It's
right. It's just not worth that particular fight. So you're smart to do that. And Virgos love the words, you were right. You don't even have to pay us if you say, oh, you were right. Yeah, we're like, oh, yeah.
I do it a lot.
It's our favorite word. Yeah, well, and it works.
And she's right a lot, too, to be honest with you.
Because it works. That's the best part of it. For Libras, the professional fight is on. Now, Libras struggled out of all of the signs mightily between the 2018 and 2021 time span. That fight is over, but there's still a residual professional fight, and they get to fight that this month. This is the month where they literally say, okay, I'm all in. This is what I'm doing, and if you're going to argue with me or you're going to stop me, let me see you try now. Because they're willing to fight for the things that they believe in. They're willing to fight for their rights, and they're willing to fight for their profession. And I think it ends up with a fairly good outcome for Libra, which is the cool thing. And they find that out by the third week in May. But and then to Libras everywhere, make sure if you do get invited to a fight that your name is on the subpoena. Don't go looking for fights that you're fighting other people's battles. Let them fight their own battle. Don't get dragged into stuff unless, like I said, your name's on a subpoena kind of deal. So, because you don't want to irritate people if you can avoid it, especially professionally. For Scorpios, this is great energy for Scorpio. They have just sort of come out of I don't want to say like a dark night of their soul, but 6 weeks has been very frustrating for Scorpios everywhere. And now they come out with guns blazing, and they come out and they're ready to travel long distance wise. They're ready to deal with legal matters. They're ready to deal with important matters. I like Joe Biden now. He's going out and going over to Europe and doing a bunch of stuff over there and just saying, hey, you know what? I've taken this all under advisement for the last 3 or 4 months or so, and now I'm ready to act and pull the trigger. And I think if he does, he'll get a good result. Scorpios everywhere will get a good legal result. They'll get a good educational result. And some important matter that has been nattering around for the Scorpio goes very favorably for them. And I have to tell you, Scorpios, if you're involved in litigation, I'm a big fan of the settlement because you get to cash the check versus a judgment, which you can wallpaper your wall with. I have one of those that I never got paid on. So settle it if you can, Scorpio. You have the hammer on that.
All right.
For Sagittarians, Mars is in their 8th house of sex, death, and regeneration. And Sagittarians everywhere are interested in all three of those things. Well, they're always interested in sex, but they're particularly interested in rules, because Sagittarius rules the locomotor region of the body. It rules the buttocks and the thighs and the gluteus. Yeah, it's the part of the body that it rules, and so you could see how that would come into play. But for them, something new comes to light that changes things for the Sagittarian one way or the other. Something that had not been revealed gets revealed, and it makes it easier for the Sagittarian to either put things into perspective or to get a handle on something, or to deal, almost like to trot out one of their fears and take a hard look at it and go, okay, I didn't really have any reason to be afraid of that. Or if I do have a reason to be afraid of it, for God's sake, come up with a plan to deal with it. That kind of a deal. And there's a lot of healing going on for Sagittarians, too, of their psyche, not just their physical being, but their psyche. And I'm a big fan, if you heal the psyche, you heal the physical being. So that's good news for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
And more money also for Sagittarians. I guess if you sign that big contract, you're buying dinner, right?
Yeah. Well, funny you mentioned that. So I don't even know if I should bring this up. So there is... I'm considering some sort of litigation right now. And is this and I think you know what I'm talking about, but...
Yep. 100% for it.
Is this, is it a good week to because I've started some dialogue. Is it a good week to kind of pursue that?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think it's going to get settled very, very quickly.
Gotcha.
This is the kind of thing that can be resolved with a letter, believe it or not, from a lawyer. So I'm all for that. But make several inquiries.
Okay.
So you get not just one. Make several inquiries to get a better idea of what the value is. But yes.
Gotcha.
Oh yes.
All right.
I mean, that thing could be filed within 6 weeks.
Hopefully.
Literally, and get a really good result much quicker than you think. So I'm all for it.
All right.
For Capricorns, this energy is in the 7th house of partners and intimate one-to-one relationships. And Capricorns are not going to back down from any fights, whether they're invited to them or not. It's a good time for Capricorns to assert their strengths, to really go with their strengths. I don't know who it is that's evaluating them or their performance, but they're going to get a very favorable result with that, and they're going to pick up some allies along the way. And the best news for Capricorn is somebody that you thought was an enemy can end up actually being an ally to help you. Oh. And that you shouldn't consider everybody who comes at you as an enemy, that there may be something in the offing as a result of that particular interaction. And Capricorns, if you hire a professional, because the 7th house also rules professionals, if you hire a professional and pay that professional for advice, take their advice. It is the very best thing.
Sometimes when people are shooting straight at you, you think they're disagreeing with you, but they're just being honest with you, and maybe you don't always like the honesty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but sometimes you need to hear it in order to get to the next place, which is what it is. So for Capricorns everywhere. And if you're married to a Capricorn, you may think it's the time for you to start to really assert your authority in the relationship, but I got to tell you, that's going to be met with some resistance from the Capricorn. Capricorn's not about to be bossed around. So just wanted to mention that.
Gotcha.
For Aquarians, this energy is in the 6th house of work, health, and responsibilities. For Aquarians, and we had a lot of phone calls this morning from people, talking about jobs and job changes. And for Aquarius in particular, Mars in the 6th house makes you take a look at where it is you do your job. Not so much the job you do, but where it is you do your job, to decide whether you want to stay there or not or do it. And the reason I mention that is that Jupiter is going to dip into their 2nd house of money in May and June. And it's sort of a harbinger of things to come. I don't think it brings them more money right away, but it may make them aware of the circumstance that there is an ability for them, if they take action and they act on it, that they can improve their job situation and end up making more money as a result of it, which can be a pretty cool thing. Otherwise, you'll just be frustrated. I'm not a big fan of being frustrated. I'm a big fan of saying, when I run into obstacles at work, instead of trying to go, let me make this work, I sometimes think maybe God is telling me that I should be pursuing a different area. And I don't ever quit a job till I have another one lined up. But I think that there may be some of that recognition for Aquarians, and they may want to take a look at their situation and say, perhaps this is an impetus for me to make some changes so I can make more money as a result of that. So, and then also to Aquarians, because the 6th house is health, work, and responsibilities, Mars is always some sort of itis, always some sort of an inflammation kind of thing, and don't fool around with it. go and get it taken care of. It's not as scary as you think it's going to be. It looks like something that can be cut and fixed, and you really want to go ahead and do that. You don't want to wait on that.
All right.
So, yes. And then for Pisces, this is their favorite time of year. Mars is in their 5th house of love affairs, children, sex, amusements, pleasures, anything fun, anything entertaining, anything creative. And the Pisces needs to know that the things that they create over the next 6 weeks or so can indeed take on a life of their own in both the physical and the esoteric sense of it. So be careful with the things you create. Don't do it without thinking that this could be a long-term kind of a thing. So whether that's children or whether that's a child of your mind that you give birth to, an idea you give birth to, but it's not going to be a short-term thing. It's going to be a much longer-term thing. It's going to have a much longer run in your life. So when you are creating something, if you're a creative type, let it out and follow it. See where it goes. You know, don't try and direct it. Let it out.
Now, do all Pisces realize that they are creative, or is this like, or are they creative? Is it something that?
Oh, I think Pisces is one of the most creative of the signs.
Okay.
I genuinely do, and the hardest thing for them to do is pick one thing and just do it. You know, give that your undivided attention, kind of a deal. So, but I would be encouraging their creativity, and again, it's a very fertile, in every sense of the word, time for Pisces. So you need to be proactive if you want to do that, and you also need to be proactive if you don't want to do that. So, because it's that fertility thing I was mentioning. So,
Gotcha.
Yes. And then for Aries, the last sign of the zodiac, Mars was in their 4th house of home, and they're taking a look around their home and thinking, I either need to clean this thing up or I need to sell it. One of the two. It's the type of thing where they realize they need to make some changes at home. They've probably been thinking about it since like last July, and now they finally have enough information to go, okay, this is the change I'm going to make. And I have to laugh at myself. My rising sign is Aries, and this week I was cleaning out cabinets and throwing out and I realized that I had medicines from like the 1980s in my closet, in my cabinet. You know, so it's kind of,
wow.
Yeah, 1980s.
There's a commercial.
You had ants too.
Yeah,
Expired.
Yeah.
Expired.
You know, so.
My mom was in my house, and my cabinets have been full for like a year. And since she's been there, I have hardly anything in my closets because she's, this is expired, right? And it just reminded me of the commercial. Expired.
Yeah.
Expired. All right.
Yeah, let's throw all that stuff out. Really, literally, since when my daughter was a baby. You know, I'm thinking, I had this use of this opium-based Donna gel. I don't think I'll save that, you know?
I was like, Mom,
I don't think you can get that anymore.
grits don't expire, Mom. Grits don't expire. Yes, they do. They do expire. Grits do expire.
I'm with you,
knows.
I don't think they expire. I don't think they do either. Like, clearly they do. So they do get stale. So that's the kind of thing. Cleaning up stuff at home is pretty much what the Aries wants to do. And it's almost just rooting things out. And I'm all for it.
All right.
So, tomorrow's news today for the 12 signs of the either that or they're just going to move. It's like, I can't stand this. I got to get out of here. One of the two. Either clean or to move, but one of the two. So tomorrow's news today for the 12 signs of the zodiac with Mars going into the sign of Cancer. And traditionally, we rattle sabers right about this time, too. Whenever Mars is in our sign, the U.S. goes, hey, we get all full of ourselves and stuff. So.
Well, cross your fingers.
I don't think anything will
for a
come
good
of
week.
it, but
Yeah, for real.
There you go. For the rest of us, it's going to be great.
All right. Star Goddess podcast right here on the Crash and AJ blog, live on the radio again next Monday, right here at 98rock.com.